All right, guys, we're going to do something really quick just because I don't have a lot of time. Could be a stream tomorrow night having a discussion about the Golan Heights, but I don't know yet, so just stay tuned. Probably in the area of 10 p.m. if you're wondering. Me too. Me too. You too, Mr. Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, is being accused apparently of some creepy activity by a former gubernatorial candidate or candidate for lieutenant governor in Nevada. And apparently the woman is Latina as well, which would make for a very bad picture for Mr. Biden. So this guy who's been claiming all this time, over the past weeks, I guess, well, we should have believed women at the time and Anita Hill, and it's straight white men that are causing this. Looks like Mr. Joe Biden has really screwed the pooch in terms of deciding when to run for president. Although you could make the argument that he did run for president in bygone times when behavior like his was just pretty average. He ran, I believe, in 1988. So this is what's so funny. Joe Biden is going to be possibly running for president 32 years after his first attempt, and also 12 years after his second attempt. And yet, people are trying to make believe that he would be a great candidate for president. I just don't see it. I think personally that once the media has to report on his real life, the real Joe Biden, they will probably glom on to someone who's also fake but has a little less baggage. Somebody like, I don't know, Beto, or you could probably make the case for Elizabeth Warren or something, although she does have baggage, but she doesn't have sexual harassment baggage. She just has lying about literally everything about her life baggage, which I guess in the Democratic Party isn't necessarily a huge disqualifier. So this is written by her. I don't know if it's true. Okay, Joe Biden is entitled to the presumption of innocence. That much I will grant him. But I will also say that Joe Biden doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt because there's so much that's going out in terms of images and film clips, which I don't have time to go through right now, of him basically acting very touchy-feely with women and young ladies as well. And it's high time people really started to confront that truth about the guy who was vice president for 8 years and was senator for a very long time as well. So she says, in 2014, I was the 35-year-old Democratic nominee for lieutenant governor in Nevada. The landscape wasn't looking good for my party that year. There were no high-profile national races to help boost turnout. And after the top candidate bowed out of the governor's race, none of the above ended up winning the Democratic primary. So when my campaign heard from Vice President Joe Biden's office that he was looking to help me and other Democrats in the state, I was grateful and flattered. His team offered to bring him to a campaign rally in an effort to help boost voter turnout. We set the date for November 1st, just 3 days before Election Day. In a state as large but sparsely populated as Nevada, it takes nonstop travel to connect with all its residents. You're lucky to get properly fed, much less to look properly coiffed, as female candidates are often required to do. She probably put that aside as, a bitter observation. Oh, we women, we have to look much better than men do. Well, the fact is, who wants to look at some, some friggin', Mark Anthony looking model? You want somebody who's relatable, like this weirdo. Joe Biden's definitely not going to get any, offers from Chippendales to be a dancer over there. So, let me see here. None of the above won the Democratic primary. That's pretty funny. But yeah. She says, I was exhausted and short on time, so decided to not wash my hair the morning of the rally. I sprayed some dry shampoo in my hair, raced off to the Reno airport, and flew back to Las Vegas. The event proceeded as most political events do, coordinated chaos with random problems that no one can predict. I found Eva Longoria, co-founder of the Latino Victory Project, roaming the... So you see Biden's arm is around Longoria's, basically her midriff over there. So, or closer to her armpit. That is something that I wonder sometimes if, like, I don't like to touch anyone. It's really funny. Like, I don't like to, I sometimes I'll shake hands. I am not a hugger, even with people in my family. So when I see Joe Biden doing this to some random person who's a celebrity, by the way, yeah, this is this is super creepy, and especially from somebody that old. I found Eva Longoria, co-founder of the Latino Victory Project, roaming the parking lot trying to figure out how to get inside the Union Hall. My staff was running around trying to purchase ferns because, according to Biden's team, no other vegetation was acceptable for the stage. That is bizarre. I found my way to the holding room for the speakers, where everyone was chatting, taking photos, and getting ready to speak to the hundreds of voters in the audience. Just before the speeches, we were ushered to the side of the stage, where we were lined up by order of introduction. As I was taking deep breaths and preparing myself to make my case to the crowd, I felt two hands on my shoulders. I froze. Why is the Vice President of the United States touching me? I don't think that's a verbatim thought in her head. I felt him get closer to me from behind. He leaned further in and inhaled my hair. I was mortified, and I thought to myself, I didn't wash my hair today, and the Vice President of the United States is smelling me. And also, what in the actual fuck? Why is the Vice President of the United States smelling my hair? He proceeded to plant a big, slow kiss on the back of my head. My brain couldn't process what was happening. I was embarrassed. I was shocked. I was confused. There is a Spanish saying, "Trágame tierra." It means earth, swallow me whole. I couldn't move, and I couldn't say anything. I wanted nothing more than to get Biden away from me. My name was called, and I was never happier to get on stage in front of an audience. But then, as a young Latina in politics, I had gotten used to feeling like an outsider in rooms dominated by white men. But I had never experienced anything so blatantly inappropriate and unnerving before her. Saul Cruz is saying he's pulling a Pastor Ellis on her. I don't even know who Pastor Ellis is, so I've heard that name before, but I have no clue who that is. Biden was the second most wonderful man in the country, and arguably one of the most wonderful men in the world. He was there to promote me as the right person for the lieutenant governor job. Instead, he made me feel uneasy, gross, and confused. The Vice President of the United States had just touched me in an intimate way reserved for close friends, family, or romantic partners, and I felt powerless to do anything about it. You know what? Good for her for saying this. She should. The question is, why didn't she say something like this after her election was over? Okay, I think she lost that election, so that was, 5 years ago, whatever. So you got, imagine you're at work. So our strange interaction happened during a pivotal moment in my political career. I'd spent months raising money, talking to voters, and securing endorsements. Biden came to Nevada to speak to my leadership and my potential to be second in command, an important role he knew firsthand. But he stopped treating me like a peer the moment he touched me. Even if his behavior wasn't violent or sexual, it was demeaning and disrespectful. I wasn't attending the rally as his mentee or even his friend. I was there as the most qualified person for the job. Imagine you're at work and a male colleague who you have no personal relationship with approaches you from behind, smells your hair, and kisses you on the head. Now imagine it's the CEO of the company. If Biden and I worked together in a traditional office, I would have complained to the HR department, but on the campaign trail, there's no clear path for what to do when a powerful man crosses the line. Good point. I think that this is a problem. Pastor Ellis fondled Ariana Grande. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. It's the same move. It's the side boob touch around the back. And I can't see if her face is too tense or something, but I'm sure if this had been video, we would have been able to see her reaction a little more, I guess, accurately. After the event, I told a few of my staff what had happened. We all talked about the inexplicable weirdness of what he did, and I didn't plan on telling anyone else. I didn't have the language or the outlet to talk about what had happened. Who do you tell? What do you say? Is it enough for a transgression if a man touches and kisses you without consent, but doesn't rise to the level of what most people consider sexual assault? I did what most women do and moved on with my life and my work. Time passed, and pictures started to surface of Vice President Biden getting uncomfortably close with women and young girls. Yes, Biden nuzzling the neck of the defense secretary's wife. Biden kissing a senator's wife on the lips. I remember that clip, for sure, for sure. I think that might have been Chris Coons' wife. Biden whispering in women's ears. Biden snuggling female constituents. I saw obvious discomfort in the women's faces, and Biden, I'm sure, never thought twice about how it made them feel. I knew I couldn't say anything publicly about what those pictures surfaced. For me, my anger and my resentment grew. Yeah, she should have said something. People should talk about. I mean, if these things happen and you have video evidence and you're not going to talk about it, then what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do as the rest of the country? You know, whether it's men, whether it's the rest of the women in the country. If you don't talk about it at the time, and I guess it's credit for her for coming out at all, I guess, and making at least a bid to talk about her story. But again, she needs stronger evidence than this accusation. Had I never seen those pictures, I may have been able to give Biden the benefit of the doubt. Had there not been multiple articles written over the years about the exact same things, calling his creepy behavior an open secret, perhaps it would feel less offensive. And yet, despite the steady stream of pictures and the occasional article, Biden retained his title of America's favorite uncle. On occasion, that title was downgraded to America's creepy uncle. But that in and of itself implied a certain level of acceptance. After all, how many families just tolerate or keep their young children away from the creepy uncle without ever acknowledging that there should be zero tolerance for a man who persistently invades other people's personal space and makes people feel uneasy and gross? In this case, it shows a lack of empathy for the women and young girls whose space he is invading and ignores the power imbalance that exists between Biden and the women he chooses to get cozy with. So, Len McCarthy says, if the women are over 18, it improves my opinion of Biden. Dude is really into little kids. Yeah, there are clips of him with smaller children, girls, you know, which is not okay either. And you know, this is a real problem and people have to address it. But we'll have to address it at length a different time, even though our guest of honor, Stormy Horseface Daniels, is here, because I do have to go. Again, tomorrow, perhaps around 10 p.m., we could have kind of a discussion about the Golan Heights annexation recognition by the United States. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't have the event set up yet, but it could be. So just letting you know if you're interested. And besides that, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and subscribe to me on BitChute and on Gab. On BitChute, it's Chef Leopard. On Minds.com, it's at Chef Leopard. On Twitter, it's Chef Leopard. And on Gab, it's at Starscream85. And I'll talk to you guys later.